And we are live. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Plenty of things to go through on tonight's show. From Richard Arnold being sacked by Sir Jim Ratcliffe upon his arrival to Sofyan Amrabat being signed on a permanent deal. So let's jump right into the news. Let's jump right into everything you guys need to know about Manchester United. So let's get talking about the big story initially breaking from Laurie Whitwell tonight. And that is Richard Arnold is expected to leave Manchester United. Once Sir Jim Ratcliffe comes in, he will be axed by Sir Jim under his new management, under the new regime, and under the Ineos investment, I guess. We can't really call it an ownership at this point, but this is something we kind of expected. Look, I've been calling for it for a while on the channel. I've said that Richard Arnold is a guy who I think should be let go by Manchester United. And we should be bringing better people in. And that goes the exact same for John Murda, Director of Football. I think he should go as well. And it looks like Sir Jim is getting these plans and he's getting his initial shake-up of Manchester United well and truly underway. Some of this will stem down to what he wants to do. Now, fundamentally, we know Manchester United's board over the last 10 years has been nothing short of an absolute disgrace, if we are being honest with ourselves. The money spent, the money wasted, the ownership, the leadership shown from the board has been nothing short of abysmal from top to bottom for the best part of 10 years, probably longer if we want to go the whole way back through the Ed Woodward era as well. So what does this really mean for Manchester United? One name we have seen talked about a lot in recent weeks is Jean-Claude Blanc, and he was, of course, CEO of Juventus, and he was a director at Paris Saint-Germain. He had joined with the Ineos group in February. Now, this is all kind of lining up to Jean-Claude Blanc being the new CEO of Manchester United. Now, some reliable sources, Muppeteers, have been saying, keep an eye out on this guy, keep an eye out for his name, and it is something we're going to see more of. I'm not surprised that Richard Arnold is on the chopping block. I think he's a man who should have been never really getting to the position of CEO of Manchester United, but it does look like his time is running out at the club. And what are we going to remember the Richard Arnold era by? Because he promised a lot when he first came in. Of course, we remember he went for a couple of pounds with United fans protesting outside of his home. He went and he said, oh, we're going to make all these changes. I'm not going to be like Woodward. I don't think a lot's changed at all on that. We've got Daniel and we've got Lucky down in the comment. It's good to see you guys. Richard wants to see Arnold gone and John Murda gone, but the Glazers are passing the book on what fans would like. They're looking someone else and hope no one notices. Yeah, look, I would agree with that as well. I mean, if Sir Jim is to sack anybody, I hope that it's going to be the Glazer family at some point in time. So that's going to be happening pretty immediately once Sir Jim does come into Manchester United. Something to keep an eye out on, something to watch out for, something we definitely expected to see. I really have no complaints whatsoever with this, and I think as part of a shake-up and as part of bringing in proper modernized footballing structure at the club, I think it's a very good move. And I think bringing people in with experience who have run football clubs that want to compete and want to fight for the honours, I think that's nothing short of exactly what's required of Manchester United. We see the exact same being talked about with Paul Mitchell. I'm assuming he will come in to replace John Murda, so that could be Murda and Arnold out, two people in charge of the footballing operations at Manchester United who really haven't done a good job, who we really can't say, yeah, look, it's good that these guys are going to be leaving the club, so I'm happy with that. In terms of where this leaves United, it's been an interesting day. Of course, Richard Arnold not just responsible for the overall footballing structure at the club, but in terms of actually being the day-to-day guy in charge of the place as well. He has been looking over the commercial side. The revenues are up today. We want to get into that story and touch briefly upon it. But Manchester United, 11% up, 11% rise in revenue. So that's a massive increase in money coming in. The wage is down as well, the wage bill. But yet we make a loss of £50 million. I don't know if that's a good one at all. That cannot be considered good news at all for Manchester United, and that does kind of show that things are not going to plan at the football club. And I'm assuming it's going to be in the interest repayments on the debt and stuff. The debt has not changed. The debt is still £560 million, and as well as that, of course, all the money we owe in outstanding transfer fees. I got Rajat in the comments, so Fresh is down there, and so is Michael as well. Good to see you guys. Michael says, "I wish Qatar we wouldn't be in the mess." I mean, look, these financial results were always going to be the case. That was always going to happen, unfortunately. So there's not too much that could have changed on that. But I'm very, very happy that Richard Arnold will be leaving the club. I'm very happy that John Murda will be next in line to go, and we're going to bring in a proper, modernised footballing structure. This is something we've wanted for a long, long time as Manchester United fans. And honestly, cannot come soon enough. It really can't. And the sooner we get the likes of Arnold out of the club and we bring people in who know what they're doing, we're going to see a better Manchester United. I know we want to talk about Qatari money. We want to talk about the amount of money Radcliffe could pump in, even if it's hundreds of millions, £1 billion, say. Does that make a big difference when it's still the same bunch of guys making the calls who have made the calls for the last 10 years and have seen Manchester United go from the dominant force in English football to a team that struggled to finish in the top four? Absolutely not. We've no confidence whatsoever in their ability to really lead us forward. Let me see. So Fresh is down there. Amrabat looks reliable and flexible in his positioning. I'd be prepared to give him a contract with the squad's recent injury being so long. Of course, that is the poll question for tonight. Rumours coming in from Karl Anka and from The Athletic that United plan to give Stefan Amrabat a permanent deal, like we want to sign him permanently. I'm very happy with that. I'm really thinking that's a good move. I think he's a very good player. I think we haven't seen the best of him yet, but what he brings to the team and availability, his work rate, his composure on the ball, I think, yeah, look, this is a man I'd be very happy to sign for, and I think it's around £20 million, so I can't complain at all about the pricing there. Rajat says United need Goncalves or Inaki. Look, I think we're going to be bringing in some good players. I'm looking forward to the future. I think it is kind of an exciting time. It's not quite what we wanted. No one really wanted to say, let's have the Glazer family stick around, let's have minority ownership. But if Radcliffe comes in and he brings in the right people to make those calls for the footballing side in terms of CEO, sporting directors, directors of football, the scouting stuff, if all that modernizes and improves, results on the pitch will improve. The team will get better, even with the Glazer family here. And look, I think that it's a long road ahead of us, is what I'm trying to say. It's a long road for Manchester United, and I think the new structure will help us along that road. But until the Glazers are fully gone, we're not fully going to be up to full strength. It could be like fighting with two hands tied behind your back at the minute. With Radcliffe coming in, we might have one hand we can use, but the other one is still firmly tied behind our back. So we're not up to full strength, we're not up to our full capacity, and we will not be changing as much or as quickly as we want to as a team, as a club. But I think this is an important step. I think getting the right people in to make the big calls, to run the football club, to do the day-to-day stuff, to give Ten Hag or whoever the manager will be the backing he needs, to find these players who we've been missing out on for so long, to improve our dreadful record in the transfer market. I think that's going to help us a lot in the long run. So Richard Arnold going, I'm a big fan. John Murda, I think he should be next. I think Darren Fletcher should go. And with that, and bringing the proper people in, that makes such a difference to what Manchester United can do off the pitch to ensure that we have a good team and the results on the pitch. I think that makes a massive difference. Lucky is down there. My passion of football club comes first. End of story. No more mate Brits, boys. Yeah, look, I think Arnold going's a big one because, of course, he was influential in the Glazer takeover, as was Ed Woodward. We're kind of seeing the end of that era of these guys affiliated to the Glazer family running the football club. Rajat says, do not think we've had real football structure. Need to steal Gravenberch off Pool. I mean, look, I would agree. Like, I don't think we've had a real footballing structure ever. I think the likes of Arnold and I think Fletcher and I think John Murda, they were brought in to really appease fans. But I mean, you're tasking running the biggest football club in the world, a team that should be winning trophies, a team that should be competing every single season for Premier Leagues and Champions Leagues. You're tasking building that structure, building up that team, building the foundations of the future to guys who are horribly incompetent, to guys who have overseen Manchester United's decline. And I think a fresh start is a good thing. I don't think this Radcliffe deal is exactly what we want to see. I don't think there's a fan out there who is saying, yeah, this is brilliant, Glazer family staying, but I think this is a step in the right direction. I think this is an improvement of sort as well. Let me see who we got down below. Michael says, would be nice to see Amrabat and Ericsson start together. Yeah, I think that would be nice. I think I would like to see Amrabat and Mount or Amrabat Ericsson. I think that's going to help Manchester United as a team. I don't think we'll see it at the weekend. I think very much it's going to be midfield three, probably Mount, Casemiro, Amrabat, and probably Bruno on the right hand side. That's probably going to be how we line up in this one. So Fresh says, if Casemiro plays with Amrabat in centre mid, I struggle to see how Mount, Bruno, and Anthony work in the squad in their positions. Yeah, look, that's up for Eric Ten Hag to decide. I think that it's not too much of a problem for me. I like having options. I don't think Casemiro's really been himself this year. I don't think he's been a massive loss in the last two matches, the way he has been forming. If he gets back to what we know Casemiro is capable of, that's a different story altogether. But the way this season's going, it's not like he's been half the player he was last year. He has not been as good, really, in my opinion. Rashad says United has money to compete with City, Liverpool, and Arsenal. Is how they utilise. I would agree with that as well. Stephanie says Arnold and Murray were Ed 2.0, no brainer at all. Let's see who else is down there. Luman, good to see you, man. Rashad says with Liverpool may have Gravenberch's permanent deal. They might do. They might be close to that. I think there's an obligation or an option to buy. So it's up to them really if they want to take that up. Chase is saying, let me see what Chase has got. There's a player called Brian that plays for Granada and the Spain team. He's a better bowler than Inaki, but like usual United fans, United got one of the worst scouting teams. Hello, Stefan. It's good to see you, Chase, man. Welcome back to the channel. Look, I'll say this, like, the whole scouting infrastructure needs change. The whole decision making, the way we look at players, the way we sign players for the youth teams or for our own first team, it's really, really poor, and it needs modernizing, it needs updating, it needs to be completely torn up and done over again. Do I think Richard Arnold is the guy to do that? No, I don't think he's the first clue about it. I don't think John Murda does either. So I think this is definitely a very, very good move from Radcliffe. Getting in people who know what they're doing is going to help us so much. It really, really is. Just talking about the board and the sort of financial stuff, I'll have a quick look at the Manchester United results today as well. Of course, record revenues of around £650 million. The debt remains at 538 million. No dividends paid to the Glazers this time around, of course. The Glazer family have not received a dividend for the year, but 33.6 million has been paid for the financial year last year, but no dividends since June. That's probably a good thing for us morally, but it does suggest we don't have the money that even the Glazer family are going to take out of the club at this moment in time. Obviously a big loss as well, £50 million. It's probably down to the interest rate spiking as well. Look, anyone with a mortgage or any kind of loan will know that the payments have gone up, your insurance has gone up. It's all linked together as well. Who else have we got down below, guys? Lucky is down there. Joel Glazer needs to go. Absolutely. City fan says, "Am I nervous?" I mean, I'm not nervous. I'm not nervous at all. I've kind of accepted that we might get beat, but once you kind of accept that it could be likely on the way we're playing, that it kind of takes the pressure off. Look, I mean, if we get smashed up, I'll be very, very hurt, of course, about it, man. Let me see who else we got down below. City, we need to show. Sunday we have to show Man City. Hopefully we do. Rajat says, no, we're not nervous about City. I don't see you getting a point against us. Quality is faded, and you need Maguire. Doku is too quick. I mean, yeah, look, I would feel confident going up against Jeremy Doku if we had Aaron Wan-Bissaka in the team, but I don't know if Delo can cope defensively. I mean, he's improved going forward, but probably not overall. But yeah, look, financials are interesting. Losing that money does mean that there's a big hole that we need to fill. Hopefully, Sir Jim can put that money back into the club. Stephanie says I'm frozen. Am I frozen? I don't think I'm frozen. It might have froze for a minute there. Am I back? I've got it in front of me there. It doesn't look to be froze. No, I think it's all good. I think it's all good. Might have just been like a wee glitch or something. So Fresh is saying, do you think Everton's 12-point deduction is a good decision, considering City have 135 cases against them for breaching FFP? What would their punishment be in comparison? I actually think someone on Twitter worked it out, and they would end up in the National League North if 12 points were took off them for every charge. But it'll all depend as well. DDG is back in, not sure. Yeah, I want to get talking about David De Gea, because this was a story that broke last night. Personally, I can't see it happening. I really can't. I think De Gea was disappointed in how we treated him. I think Manchester United went about that in the wrong way. I feel like bridges are burnt. I would be absolutely stunned if I saw David De Gea in a Manchester United shirt again. I just don't think that's ever going to happen. Kofi is saying, give me an update on Manu. Kobe Manu is back for Manchester United. Of course, he did play some minutes yesterday in, I think it was an under-19s Champions League match. So he's back on the pitch, getting minutes, getting fit again. So I wouldn't expect him in the next week or so, but I think they're building his fitness up. I would expect to see some of him in the first team for sure. Look, guys, get voting on the poll as well, because that's one of the big stories of today, of course, and that is should we sign Sofyan Amrabat on a permanent transfer? Because that is what is coming out of Karl Anka today. So Karl Anka, he writes for The Athletic, big United fan, and he had said that United are expected to make the Amrabat deal a permanent one before the end of the season. Now, look, we know we have the option to buy, which I think's good. I wouldn't mind seeing Sofyan Amrabat kept on. Just in relation to Kobbie Mainoo as well, a quick update coming in literally in the last couple of moments from Steve Royalston of Manchester Evening News, and that is United are looking to slowly build up Kobbie Mainoo's match minutes as he targets a full return to fitness after the injury. He's not expected in the first team for the next couple of weeks. So they're just building up his fitness. They're getting him back on the pitch, getting sharp, getting ready, because ultimately he played maybe 3 matches in pre-season and he hasn't played since then. So it'll take a while for him to get back up to speed fully, I'm sure. Thank you very much, guys, as well, for 15 likes. If you guys haven't already, hit that like button. Only takes 1 second. So Fresh said De Gea would be the right sort of competition for Onana. Yeah, look, I don't think we'll be bringing him at all. I would be absolutely stunned if David De Gea was coming into Manchester United again. I think if we look at the source as well, it's coming from the Sun. So I typically look at things what the Sun say with a very, very large pinch of salt, because I really don't think that they're in any way reliable at all. Liman says more chance of Lucky Singh going on loan than De Gea. Yeah, I would agree with that as well. Wish we got Nunes. Now he went off to City. Yeah, look, I would have loved Matthias Nunes at United as well. So, guys, I want to get talking about Sofyan Amrabat, because I think this is a deal that I like the look of. I like the player. I don't think we've seen the best of him as of yet. I don't think that Sofyan Amrabat is at the level that he can get to. I think a lot of it comes, he's still playing in a new team. He's still finding his feet somewhat. He has played left back more than he has played in his own position as well. I think that's key for what Sofyan Amrabat might do moving forward for the rest of the season. I think with Casemiro coming back, that will give us some solidity in that midfield. Amrabat will help cover those gaps left by Casemiro. So I would expect to see them in a pivot on Sunday. One player I don't want to see on Sunday at all will be Scott McTominay. Now, this is a player who I really think we can do without playing. Look, I know he's scoring goals, but the level of performances are just so poor. So little passes complete, so little actual involvement in the play. I think, look, there's a screenshot we can go back and look at. It was against Copenhagen. We had 3 players on the halfway line: Amrabat, Varane, Harry Maguire. Scott McTominay should have been the next deepest midfield player, but he was trying to break into the penalty box. he doesn't know if he's a midfielder or a striker. I don't think Scott McTominay should be in that team at all. I think Mount has to come back in. But just in relation to the Sofyan Amrabat deal, Manchester United are expected to sort out a permanent deal for Amrabat before this end of the season. So I'm happy with that. I am. But I'm asking you guys on the poll, get your votes in. Would you guys like Sofyan Amrabat on a permanent deal? Let me know those thoughts down below, guys. Get those in. Loads of comments going in as well. Sunday, I hope Garnacho will not start the game. I don't think he will. There is talk of a ban or a punishment coming in for Garnacho, so that's something to keep an eye out on. I will touch on that on just one moment as well. Lucky says new training facilities have been built for the women's team. Yeah, that's good. I have seen that, of course. Sean is on there. The worst thing we can do for Manu is to rush him back. It will stunt his development, and if he gets too many injuries this early in his career, absolutely agree. Stephanie says, De Gea story is mischief making again. Got her press into overdrive, absolutely. And it's it's the exact same with the Graham Potter links. I think someone had said about Graham Potter down below as well. I will be absolutely stunned if Graham Potter replaced Eric Ten Hag. Look, Graham Potter was a good manager at Brighton. I think he's shown at Chelsea he just isn't the guy for a big team. Like Chelsea were disastrous last season, so I think that's fair enough. I wouldn't expect United to bring in Graham Potter whatsoever. All must be 22-year-old. I love Man United. Let's see. Sean is on there. Amrabat, if not injured, is not fast enough for Premier League unless he's playing hurt and step off. I don't think it's really his game is playing this sort of. I don't think he's really what we would call a typical defensive midfielder. I think he's more like a deeper lying playmaker. He's more like that type of player who drops in between the centre backs, plays the passes. He's a conductor. He's someone who sets the tempo of the ball. I think, yeah, look, is there better players out there? There probably is, but I think as a squad player, I think as a player to be in the team and be involved, I think, yeah, versatile guy, works really hard at a good age, at a good price. I think he's settled in quite well. I think we'll see a lot more of him. I think we'll see better performances as well. So I'm looking forward to what he's going to do for the rest of the year. I really am. Stephanie says Amrabat and Højlund under competent ownership would have been our first two signings last summer. They might have been. I really think competent ownership last season probably takes a look at it. Do we sign Mason Mount? Maybe not. Do we bring in Højlund? Yes. Do we bring in Amrabat? Yes. Do we need Altay Bayender? Maybe not. Do we need to sign a centre back? Do we need to sign a left back? That's the kind of approach that they would have took last year, and they probably would have got a better deal as well on Højlund, on Mount, on Onana, players like that. Kofi is down there saying Amrabat because he and Manu will be our best defensive midfielders. Sean said, let's take 40 million for Mac in January, move on. Get a loan with 15 million to buy on Sancho. Team needs to clean up. I would agree with that as well. Got to be clearing them out. Malps is saying Arnold is leaving for the buffet. Maybe that's it. Jim wants to cut costs. No all-you-can-eat buffets. Maybe that's what he's going to go for as well. Let's see who else we got in the comment. Jeremy, Højlund's football IQ is remarkable. He's the real deal. Yeah, and look, I'm seeing people giving flack towards Rasmus Højlund. Now, look, it's mostly rival fans, but I'm seeing it from some United fans online. Look, I will say this about Rasmus Højlund. This is a guy completely starved of service. If he had the right type of service, if he had more chances in a match, he would definitely be scoring more goals. Because at the minute, he's getting one chance per match, and that's maybe it. And even at that, he's looking dangerous. The goals will come, but United have to shape up. Give the guy the service needed. United players would eat Potter for breakfast. Yeah, they definitely would. Who would I take, Haaland or Højlund, if giving a chance without being biased? I don't think anyone here would say Højlund is a better player than Haaland at the moment, but certainly for me, I think Højlund's definitely the real deal. I'm looking forward to watching him develop. I really, really am. But yeah, just going back to Sofyan Amrabat, so that looks to be a deal we want to be completing. I think, yeah, I think it makes I think that definitely makes sense to me as well. He is only on loan. I'm happy with it. A lot of people were writing him off and saying he's a pretty average player, but he might not be the most exciting to watch, but I think he's important to this team. If we didn't have Sofyan Amrabat right now, I think we'd be in a much, much worse position. And I think Amrabat, Casemiro, that should be the guys holding down the fort on Sunday and against the big teams moving forward. I think that's probably as strong as we can get. But yeah, that's what I'll go for. Sean says move Maguire in the summer too. These guys are not Ten Hag players or fit in. They're getting game time because we're short of options. Yeah, absolutely. I would agree with that on Harry Maguire. I think he's played well against Copenhagen, against Sheffield. I think he started against Brentford as well. He hasn't been playing badly, but I don't think he's a Ten Hag guy. I really don't. I think as soon as Lisandro Martinez is available and able to play, I think he will come back into this team. And I would fully expect to see that. I would be very surprised if Harry Maguire keeps his place throughout the rest of the season. That is, of course, as well. Apologies as well, guys. I should have actually said at the start of the stream, I've got like a problem in my mouth. It's like I think it's like my gum or something is like swollen or something. I think I must have bit the inside of my mouth. Whenever I was sleeping last night or whatever. So I'm kind of sounding a little bit lispy at the minute, but it's all good. It's all good. Sean said, need to see Hoyland shoot from outside the box. Good strikers, whilst there should be a handful in the box, have to have a shot on them. Yeah, look, I want to see more opportunities for him. Absolutely. I genuinely think the better we play, the more we'll see from Hoyland. I think we've seen the pace, we've seen the power. We know he can finish. I think what we need to see is more consistent opportunities. And I think that's one of the reasons why Haaland scores so many goals for Man City. Yes, he's an unbelievable finisher, probably the best finisher in the world. But he also gets given 3 or 4 chances per match. Hoyland might get 1 chance per match if he's lucky. And even at that, it might only be a half chance. If he was genuinely given the level of opportunities Erling Haaland was given, I would say Rasmus Hoyland would be on 7 or 8 goals now instead of 3. I think he will bag gold. I think we got to play better as a team, got to make more opportunities, got to hold the ball better, and I think that's what we got to be doing. Stephanie says move Maguire to Bayern and a swap deal for Kim Min-jae. I mean, look, Kim Min-jae is the type of player we should have signed. He really is. And if we had Kim Min-jae in this team right now, man, we'd be flying. We would be so defensively secure. Really, really would be. Sean said, I fear for Maguire against Haaland that the measure of good centre backs is that they play a striker. Yeah, it is gonna be worrying. I think the way to combat that really is going to be play a little bit deeper, and I don't think there's any shame whatsoever in playing a little bit deeper and trying to counter-attack on the City. Press them high, win the ball on the halfway line, counter-attack. I think we got the players for it, be it Garnacho on the left, be it Rashford on the left, Hoyland through the middle, or Bruno on the right, or Anthony on the right. I think we got the players to hurt Man City, but I think we got to go about it in the right way. If we go out to try play football, we will get beaten because City are one of the best teams in the world, and Manchester United struggled to beat Sheffield and Brentford when we tried to play expansive football. So I think we got to be smart, got to take those opportunities as and when they come, and be as defensively secure as possible. Just to move on as well, want to get talking about Garnacho because I think this is a nonsense story, really. So basically what happened was Garnacho put up a post. I think it might have been a comment or he might have shared something. And in it, I think he used a gorilla emoji when putting up a photo of him and Andre Onana. Now, was it well thought out? No, it wasn't. And look, I can completely understand why some people would feel upset about that. But I think it's a nonsense story, most importantly, because Andre Onana himself put up a post as well, commenting on the situation, commenting on what is being said. And he basically said, people cannot choose what I should be offended by. I know exactly what Garnacho meant. He meant power and strength. This matter should go absolutely no further. So I'm going to struggle to see how anything's going to be brought against Garnacho by the FA, really, in terms of serious punishment, if Andre Onana himself is putting it up saying it's all right, he doesn't feel offended by it. Now, we're going to find out because the FA, if there is a chance to ban a Manchester United player. We know what they want to do. They will want to make an example out of him. I remember a similar situation happened with Edison Cavani a couple of seasons ago. I'm not sure if anyone remembers that. He did get a 2-match ban, maybe, and had to go to some sensitivity training or some sort of course. I don't know. But it's clear and obvious, even to Andre Onana, that there was nothing meant to be offensive in that comment or in that post by Garnacho. And the fact we're sitting talking about Instagram posts or Twitter posts, it does kind of show that Manchester United find their way into that headline no matter what's going on, no matter if it's good, if it's bad, if it's to the ugly. It just happens. It really does. Sean says reports the FAF contacted him. That boy meant well. It's a BS story. Look, I would agree with that. I think if Onana himself, if he took offense to it and felt annoyed by it, I completely get then there being more of an issue made out of it. But he has come out himself publicly and said that nobody decides what he's offended by or not. He knows what Garnacho meant, and the matter should not go any further. So I would think it would be a nonsense call, really, if he was to get sacked or was to get in any sort of trouble, any kind of ban, anything like that. So I would be very surprised if it happens. I guess it happens, but I'm hoping that it won't. But yeah, look, I want to just quickly go back to the main story tonight as well, on Richard Arnold, because we have some quotes coming out from Laurie Whitwell, some further analysis on the situation. So Richard Arnold is expected to leave his role as Manchester United CEO once Sir Jim Ratcliffe's £1.4 billion, 25% buy-in go ahead. Ratcliffe and Qatari Sheikh Yassin were the front runners in the bidding war, but with Ratcliffe now set to buy into Manchester United, it is expected that Richard Arnold will be moved on. The Athletic report that it will lead to a personal shake-up, which will likely see Arnold leave his position. They report that Juventus CEO Jean-Claude Blanc, the man who currently oversees Ineos sport portfolio, is the current consideration and favourite to replace Richard Arnold at Manchester United. It also comes in with news of Paul Mitchell being headhunted by Ineos and by Manchester United to come in as a sporting director. So that's all to be surprised. He also got down below, Brian is saying hopefully United up their game and beat 115 FC. I'm hoping so, Brian. I'm hoping that we go out and have a good match on Sunday and hopefully get a result. Try beat City as well. I think we got to go about it in the right way. I don't think anyone out there thinks that we're a team good enough or as good as Man City. I don't think anyone really truly would believe that. No matter how much we love Manchester United, and it's difficult to say that they're a better team than us right now, but they are. That's the reality of the situation. But look, make no mistake about it, United can get a result out of it. We definitely can go on and beat City. They've lost matches already this season that maybe they wouldn't have lost before. They've no Kevin De Bruyne in that team. Can they still hurt us? Absolutely they can. But I think we've got the weapons in our team to cause them problems, to hurt them as well. It all depends on what Manchester United turn up against Man City. If it's the United we've seen for most of this season, arguably in every single match, then it's only going to go one way. If we do turn up and play how we know we can play, hit them on the break, hit them with pace, take our chances, I think we can definitely get a goal or two. Stephanie says the Garnacho situation, Man's context is key. Soon won't be talking at all. Yeah, look, I mean, it's a nonsense situation. It is. Lucky is down there as well. Have to stay compact for long periods. Jeremy says FF full of hall monitors. Onana calm and wants to carry on as well. Yeah, look, it's going to be about not getting beat against Man City. Don't go out and make a poor game of it. Don't make any mistakes. No stupid errors being made. I think, look, we've seen last time we played them was the FA Cup final, and we were compact on that day. We took an opportunity when it came our way and we scored a goal. We lost that match because of individual errors from the goalkeeper. It was De Gea on the day, but Onana's got to be sharp in this match. We've got to see a better United than we have seen for the last, probably since the season kicked off. Do I think we can beat them? Absolutely. Do I think we will? I think that's very questionable. But I'm hoping we can. Maybe we're saving the big performance for against Man City. Look, we've won the last 3 in a row. If there is any momentum to be built, we've probably built it up already. Not that the performances have been great, but I'm hoping that we can go out and get something out of that match. Absolutely. Liman says, from a realistic footballing angle, there's no way we can come out with anything against City. All we can hope is we don't get hammered. And Jeremy says, don't want to see any head drops against City. Stephanie says, City could be perfect game for a counter-attacking style. I would agree with that. Look, Manchester United have beat Man City before. Pep Guardiola's team with a worse squad than what we have now. We beat them with a team of McTominay and Fred, Bruno Fernandes in there, Dan James, Martial, Maguire and Lindelof. I mean, we've beat them before with worse teams, and we've beat them at the Etihad with worse teams. I think what we got to do is stay compact. I think what we got to do is be pragmatic, press well when needed, hit them on the counter-attack, use the pace. I don't think anyone's expecting us to go out and play as well as Man City, to play them off the pitch. I don't think we can do that. I think we can get a result, though. That's just my thoughts as well. What are we up to? 20 likes as well on the video. Thanks very much, guys. Drop a like if you guys haven't already. Make sure you're hitting that sub button as well to join in with the community here on the channel. Obviously, great, fantastic bunch of guys, really. But yeah, let me just quickly have a look through the other stuff we wanted to go through on tonight's show. There was some interesting news coming in on Jadon Sancho as well in the last hour. Saudi Arabia are looking increasingly likely to offer Jadon Sancho a way out of Manchester United. He is desperate to leave in January. I mean, look, the Sancho situation is one that hasn't gone away. It's one that's never going to improve at this point. And I think Ten Hag, even if there was an apology made, probably wouldn't really care too much about it. I think the longer you go without an apology, the less meaning it actually gets. That's my thing there. Liman says, when was the last time you played a counter-attacking style under Ten Hag? At present, we don't have any style or strategy. I think we played counter-attack a few times. I think we did elements of it against Bayern Munich. We, notably last season, we did it several times. We did it against Liverpool very early in that season. We played on the counter-attack and it worked well. We've definitely got the tools for it. Our team really hasn't changed too much from the personnel available under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer than what it did to Erik ten Hag. I think one player I would definitely be watching out for is Jeremy Doku. Looks very, very dangerous for Man City, and be he on the left or on the right, I think we got to be ready for that threat. I'm expecting to see Reguilon start. I think Reguilon will be the only left back we have available, but I would like to see Wan-Bissaka play at right back if he's in any way fit, because this is a match for him up against a really good dribbler, a really quick player who we can who you can go one-on-one against. I think that's the kind of match where you want to have an Aaron Wan-Bissaka to mitigate their more lethal attacking options. Look, Rodri will be back for this game. They're going to control the possession. They're going to control the ball. It's going to be up to us to get it off them. They don't have Kevin De Bruyne, though. And I think that's a big loss for them. Obviously, fantastic player, but he does a lot to facilitate Erling Haaland in that team for Man City. So I think there's ways and means we can get around this, and I think there's ways we can go out and beat City on Sunday. It's going to be a very difficult job to do. If we beat City on Sunday, if we get anything out of that match, I think it's a big bonus. I think that's genuinely something we can build upon for the rest of the season. I really, really do. I think going back to what Jeremy was saying, very important, no heads dropping. We've seen it already this year. We've seen it last year so many times. We go a goal down, heads drop. It happened at Anfield. It happened against City at the Etihad. It happened against Brentford. It's happened this year as well. It's happened against Bayern. It's happened against Arsenal. We cannot let those heads drop whatsoever as well. Let me see. Stephanie says, what I think of this Everton FFP points reduction talk. I can see them going ahead with it. I can, but I think it will be interesting what happens to Man City. There's 115 charges there. Like, you're talking a different ball game altogether. So does that mean that if they're found innocent on all but one, do they get a 12-point deduction? What happens there? What will be deemed the level of punishment? What sort of penalties will they face as a team, as a club? That's going to be an interesting one to see how that happens, because it's going to set a real precedent. Look, that's really bad news for Everton as well. If they get deducted 12 points, they may well get relegated. If they get relegated, I don't know how that team's going to survive. They're massively in debt. They're running in a deficit. They're trying to build a new stadium. How do you do that in the Championship? That's my question for for any Everton fan out there. Rashad says, don't think Wan-Bissaka is a Ten Hag right back. No, I don't think so either. But I do think he is the kind of guy you want in this match against tricky wingers who will run at you, who will dribble, make space. People like Jeremy Doku. I think that's where you want Naran Wan-Bissaka in your squad, in your team, to have that option you can call upon. Let me see. Rashad said, Luke Shaw usually shows up against Man City. Yeah, no Luke Shaw in this one, of course. Expected to be out until the end of the year, so massive disappointment there. Hopefully Reguilon's going to be up to the task. I think he had a pretty indifferent match against Copenhagen. I think maybe not 100% fit, but hopefully Reguilon can find his form again. Let me see. If Everton get 12-point deduction, City should be forced to play blindfolded. Yeah, absolutely. Stephanie says we haven't drawn a season. Haven't drawn a game all this season. 7 wins and 6 losses. I would take a draw right now if it was offered, but really want to beat them. Yeah, absolutely. Rashad, yeah, that is after their chairman died as well. Bill Kenwright, of course. So a lot of changes at Everton Football Club, for sure. But moving on quickly as well, just from the match on Sunday, and just going to circle right back around again, because I don't think we really talked about it in enough detail, and that, of course, is David De Gea. Look, I think this is a deal that's not going to happen. I'll be completely and utterly flabbergasted if that's genuinely what happened if we brought him back. And look, I know Onana might go to African Cup of Nations, but we signed Altay Bayandere for a reason. I guess he's going to have to play at some point, and it might well be during that January period when Onana's away. So I think it's a nonsense story. I would be amazed if it happened. So Fresh is saying, is Malacia going to be challenging Reguilon's place when he's back? You would imagine so. You would imagine so. I don't think Karel Malacia has really got a long-term future at United. I think he's a good, hard-working player, but I don't think he's ever going to be the number one. I don't think he's ever going to be that guy at the club. I would be surprised if it happened. I really do. I think as a squad player, yeah, look, I can get it, but I think there's even better young left backs coming through. I think Alvaro Fernandez probably has a higher ceiling as well at a younger age, and is arguably as good as Malacia now. So I wouldn't mind seeing him given an opportunity. Luman says, I'm bored with this that he isn't a Ten Hag player, or isn't a Ten Hag player, albeit manager should transform a player accordingly. I mean, look, there's elements of that, yeah, absolutely, but there is only so much a manager can do. He can't suddenly make Scott McTominay a good footballer. He can't suddenly make Harry Maguire quick enough to play on a high line. He can't suddenly make it that Marcus Rashford doesn't run into 5 players when they're standing in front of him. He can't give Anthony a right foot. There's things he can do. There's things that he can't do. Look, he can set the team up and drill them better to ensure we're making enough chances for Højlund to score goals. He can make the defence a better organised unit, but he's not going to be able to make Wan-Bissaka all of a sudden a player who's capable of setting up 10 goals across the season. It's just not going to happen. Rashad said, do we want another left back, or is Malacia and Shaw competition good enough? Delo, a good shout for captain, by the way. I think Delo's an interesting one. He looks to be a leader on the pitch. I've been impressed with his performances moving forward. I don't think he's been too good defensively, questionable sometimes, but I mean, Delo's not a bad player. I think for your first comment there as well, Malacia and Luke Shaw, I think that's a good balance, because to me, Luke Shaw is the starting left back. I don't think Malacia is at that level. I think he's a good player to cover. I think he's a good player to jump in when needed, but I don't think he is the guy really to be the number one left back. in a lot of in a lot of regards. In the same way, I don't think Christian Eriksen, as good as he has been sometimes this season, should be the first midfielder on the team sheet. Same reasons. Let me see. So Fresh is saying, nice, I've never heard of Fernandez in the youth team before that. Alvaro Fernandez is really good. I think he's on loan at Granada at the minute, so worth watching as well. Got nice set piece delivery. Can play as a centre back as well because he's quite tall. I think he's like 6'1", 6'2". Stephanie says United missed a trick not signing Trippier. He's a United fan and can play as left back and right back. Yeah, look, I would agree with that absolutely. I think Ollie was ridiculed for wanting to sign Trippier, and what a signing he's been for Newcastle United. So I think that could be one that Ollie probably got right in hindsight. Quite a lot of Ollie's talent out did seem to be quite good, to be fair. But we didn't really get to see him bring in the players he wanted. He would have had the likes of Erling Haaland at the club, probably Jude Bellingham. Interestingly enough, a quick update coming in on the goalkeeping situation. Obviously, we've touched on it, I think, once or twice already. That's David De Gea. So this is coming in from Graham Bailey, writing, despite links to De Gea, Manchester United staff are satisfied with Altay Bayindir. He's deemed more than ready to play first-team football if Onana isn't available for any reason. So that kind of puts that story in the mud. I would have been absolutely stunned if it was going to happen. I really, really would be. Rajat says, we have versatile Delo. We can play both. Yeah, he's a good player. I like Delo. I do like Delo. Let me see. Jeremy as well saying at least Trippier is lighting up the FPL. Yeah, absolutely. Malacia seems to have seems to work better as a more attacking defender. Yeah, look, he's not a bad passer. I think that's something Malacia does well. I don't think he's a brilliant crosser. Or he's not a brilliant ball carrier the way Luke Shaw is, where he'll just drive the ball. I think what Malacia gives is passing triangles. He's a guy who can open up the space for other players. He's not a bad player. I do like him. I just don't know if he's ever going to be the number one guy at the club. I don't know if he's ever going to be anything more than a squad player for Manchester United. And look, for the price we signed him, what, for like £12 million, I guess, that's perfectly acceptable as well. So let me see. Rajat also says Delo left back and Frimpong is cool. I mean, I prefer Delo at right back. I think maybe it's an old soul thing, but I like having a right-footed right back, a left-footed left back. I wouldn't mind United playing about with the wings as well, maybe putting Anthony on the left, putting Rashford on the right, and at least that way you get some crossing out of those players, because I think that's one thing we really do miss, and I think Højlund needs that as well. It's more service. The guy is living on scraps at the minute, and I think he needs some more service into him. He can make opportunities for himself, but he has to get the ball at some point as well. That's why we brought Malacia in to provide competition. Yeah, look, that's just the type of player he is. I don't think he's ever going to be number one, but as a squad player, yeah, absolutely. And to cover injuries, yeah, look, he's a perfectly good option. Stephanie is also saying Delo has a great attitude, more of a leader than his compatriot Bruno. I think Bruno has been a big disappointment this season. We expected a lot from him. I think we expected him to step up and really deliver as the captain, but it's just not happened for him at all. I don't think it's anything to do with the captain's armband either. I think it's mostly because the team's not playing well, but obviously he contributes as well to that. I feel like he's overplaying it a lot this year. He needs to play better. Let me see as well. Rosetta says United will probably sign Sharam or Tabedo, maybe both. Two good players. I think Tabedo would have been a smart signing in the summer for sure, because we do need a centre back. I don't think the plan was ever for Johnny Evans to have started 3 or 4 matches by this point of the season. So I think that's important, bringing in some quality. Absolutely. Liman wants 30 likes. Lucky says, which players will be back for Sunday? In terms of players coming back, Casemiro returns from suspension and injury. We'll also probably have, I think we might have Wan-Bissaka coming back. I'm not 100% sure on that one. I would expect Johnny Evans to be back in the squad. I think we'll probably see Mason Mount return in the midfield, I think we're going to want to pack that midfield out. I think Casemiro sitting with Amrabat alongside him, Mount just ahead doing the pressing work. I think that's going to work nicely. I think Bruno's going to end up on the right wing. I don't know if I'm really that happy with that call, but I think that's most likely. If we're talking about what I would pick personally, I mean, personally, I would put Garnacho on the left. I would put Anthony on the right, and I would put Højlund in the middle. But I think Ten Hag will put Bruno on the right and Rashford on the left. Put Højlund through the middle. Midfield three: Amrabat, Mount, and Casemiro. Backline probably Delo, Maguire, Varane, Reguilon, and Onana. That's what I would predict. I would be really surprised if it was anything else, really. Stephanie says, interesting to see who is ref. Yeah, that's an interesting one. I don't think we've really had a lot of luck with any referees this season, so it might not really matter who it is ultimately. But I'll have a check here as well. Don't forget, guys, hit a like as well if you guys haven't already, and make sure you're hitting that sub button as well. Would be really, really appreciated. Let me see if I can get the referee up. Yeah, so it's gonna be Paul Tierney, Stephanie. Paul Tierney will be the referee for the Manchester United match versus Man City at the weekend. That was confirmed yesterday, seemingly. Paul Tierney. I mean, I don't think we have a great record with any referee. Paul Tierney doesn't seem to give us a lot either. So Paul Tierney will be the match referee. And VAR will be Michael Oliver as well. So another referee I'm not too fond of. Richard says, don't do weekend show, right? Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. It depends, because sometimes it's got a bit busy for me at weekends and stuff. But I'm going to try. I'll try to get a watch along done on Sunday. I want to do that one. We'll definitely see one. I'll definitely be live on Saturday, probably Saturday afternoon kind of time. We'll maybe even watch or react to some of the other matches going on as well. But should be a match watch along as well. Stephanie says the little pipsqueak is on. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Paul Tierney. Really, I'm not a fan of any referee. I feel like they're all just terrible at their jobs, and it's not even just United that cost. They do cost every team, but we always seem to be at we always seem to be on the receiving end of some bad refereeing calls every week. Let's see as well. So Fresh is saying Bruno was always going to be frustrating, very annoying to watch him gesturing and looking defeated. Yeah, it can be. It really, really, it can be. Stephanie says Oliver Twist in the VAR room. Yeah, I mean, I can't lie and say I'm happy about it. But it's one of those things. It is what it is. Nothing we can do as fans. They'll probably just mess us about. Keep an eye out for El Clasico. Yeah, maybe I'll do an El Clasico kind of watch along as well with the normal build up for the derby and stuff. So we'll definitely do that on Saturday. I like a Saturday show anyway. We used to do quite a few of them over the summer, and they always seem to do really well. So I'll definitely do one of them. Any more thoughts, guys? Make sure get them in down below. Let me check the votes on the poll as well. I actually haven't checked this so far. Should we sign Amrabat on a permanent deal? 75% going for yes, 25% going for no. So three-quarter majority going for yeah. Let's bring in Sofyan Amrabat. Rashad says when Bruno gets the pass right, it leads to scoring goals. It does. It definitely does. I think he's been frustrating because it feels like he's trying to force it a little bit too much. And sometimes he does this when the rest of the team aren't firing. He does seem to try force it. It's one of those. It's like the less you try to make it happen, the more you just look up and pick the right kind of passes. You know that will lead to better goal scoring opportunities, as opposed to trying for a ball that might come off 5 times out of 100. I think that's just the better options to play. But I'm looking forward to the match. I think it will be an interesting affair. Some interesting matches on tonight as well for anybody that way inclined. I think Europa League and Conference League will be on tonight. Not too sure who's playing. Leverkusen playing, Liverpool playing Toulouse. Ajax Brighton, that might be a good match to watch as well. Of course, Ajax second bottom in the Dutch league. It's not going good for those guys. Um, Stephanie says Ericsson a better passer and crosser than Bruno. Yeah, look, I would agree with that. One thing I don't get, and I will say this absolutely, is corner kicks. For set pieces, Bruno's delivery has been shocking for 2 or 3 years. Christian Eriksen puts in good crosses and good corner kicks. We should give him an option. We should give him a go because it's not going to lead to less goals. It physically can't. That's such an annoyance as well. Liman says we'll prefer a midfield trio of Stephanie, Lucky, and Rajat against the noisy neighbours. Yeah, look, I think that would be so some good work in there, some good bite in that midfield for sure. Lucky will definitely do the running. Stephanie will be jumping into the tackles as well. Studs up. Richard, of course, doing the playmaking as well. All right, guys. I think that's pretty much going to wrap us up for tonight's stream. So thanks so much for watching as well, guys. I should be live tomorrow, so I will put up, if not going to be live tomorrow, I'll put it up in a quick post if it's not going to happen. But I should be live tomorrow as well. So, guys, have a good Friday. Have a good Thursday night. Enjoy the football as well. And I'll catch you guys in the next one.